Hello and welcome back to Logan Sounds Off. Today I'm going to be reviewing TANGK by IDLES. And it says it's pronounced, because I know it's TANGK, it's pronounced tank with a whiff of the G. I'm not sure how that's meant to be pronounced, so I'm going with this. I love the artwork on this particular record. I know a lot of people like the IDLES. This was designed by the singer Joe Talbot as well as Joshua Hughes Games. So just really cool album. And although there are so many other IDLES albums that I should have kind of copped onto when they were coming out, Brutalism, Joy is an Active Renaissance, Ultramono, and Crawler, I was so late to the party, I didn't know any of those until I came across this. And when this came out, this was very big across the world, but in Ireland it was pretty big. So I bought this only recently I bought this album, and I bought it in Tower Records with another great release called Cave World by Viagra Boys, and that's their third studio album now, and they're a great band. Definitely check them out. But no, IDLES, I've been really delving into them recently as a fan. I've been really getting into them. It took me a little while to get into them, but it's just something that I've never really heard before. So to get into this kind of alternative, just really cool band is fantastic. And they were playing live at Glastonbury recently, which was so cool to see them there. So that was great. But I'm happy I have this in my collection. Unfortunately, no liner notes, but just a nice nearly record cover. And I got this on orange transparent vinyl. I don't think I have many orange vinyl. The only one that comes to mind is I have a 10-inch single of Living in a Ghost Town by the Rolling Stones. And I know that's a transparent orange as well. So it's just a really cool. This was released by Partisan Records. For anyone in the future, this was released this year, 2024. That's the year at the time of recording. So this is a really class album. And I just find it really creative and interesting. Even the name and title and just cover and everything is just quite provocative. Even though there isn't many references to explosions or anything, it's cool that they have the big explosion on the front. And then this font becomes very popular on t-shirts and everything. And also the whole phrase of love is the thing comes with this album, which we'll get to soon. But no, this is a really cool album. It contains some really good songs. My personal favourites, I have a lot of them, but my personal, real favourites would be Idea 01, Gift Horse, Pop Pop Pop, Roy, and also a gospel, whole side A I love. Dancer, Grace, Hall and Oates, and maybe Jungle I would also love. So Gratitude and Monolith, they're pretty good songs, but just not as big as a fan. So I love all of side A. So I really like this album. It took me a long time to get used to it though. I listened to this a couple of weeks ago for the first time actually on holidays, and it just stunned me really. It's so creative and unique. I really, really like this album for that reason. But yeah, I can't wait to get into it. Starting off with the first track, Idea 01, and I was actually thought it was really cool seeing them play that in Glastonbury. So this year, Glastonbury 24, IDLES played there, and at the first song that they played was Idea 01, and this is kind of like an introduction to the whole album, but it's not just a 1 minute interlude song. It's a proper introduction. It's a really good song. It's really ambient. It's a really ambient beginning to the album, which is kind of strange when you go into something like Gift Horse, which is not ambient at all. It's very harsh and loud and just vast, which is really cool. And it has a nice reverb actually for me. I love at the start, there's a bass drum that repeatedly plays in a pattern, in a tempo, sorry. And I love the reverb on that particular bass drum. It's really, really cool. And then you have some cool kind of swelling synths coming in that are just washing over you. I'd say on streaming services it doesn't sound bad, but when you have a record player and you actually play the record, when you play the album, it sounds really, really cool. So I would definitely recommend, if you do have a record player and if you haven't bought it already, buy this on vinyl, because you hear it a completely different way. And I'm not just saying that, it's genuinely incredible that this particular song anyways on vinyl. And just these kind of repeating pianos that go on. There's two pianos There's one that's nearly like an arpeggio. I'm not really sure. It's cool though. And then you also just have a repeating key every beat, which is super cool as well. It's very weird, and you've got this then Joe singing, but in a really just kind of low, whispery kind of tone. Nearly, it's not a whisper, but it's very quiet, and he reaches some high notes on it with like the he repeats the fire towards the end, and that's really really cool where he actually reaches a higher note than what he was speaking in. So or singing in, sorry. So it was really really cool to hear that. So you had this really like weird dreamy track Idea 01, and then you go on to one of the album's singles, Gift Horse, which is just an excellent track. And I'd say this was the track that got me kind of, I wouldn't say into the album, but it introduced me to the album nearly. There's some other singles and just tracks off this that I'd say I would have liked for a long time, but after listening to them a lot, you kind of fade into different tracks. Gift Horse I love though, but it wouldn't be my favourite at the moment. But it is really cool, and it has some heavy bass, which I like. I really love the heavy bass. And I think this song really is kind of loud and just cool in that fashion. And then when you have the drums enter in, it's really, really cool. I love the drums in this particular track. They're really, really good. And also the power of Joe's voice with just the lyricism in this is incredible. And just to point it out, which I'm so happy to see, IDLES wrote and performed all of these tracks. Every single one of them. Like, I know about performance, but I didn't know about them writing it. I wouldn't expect any less from IDLES, but just cool to see that they wrote all of their songs. But yeah, Gift Horse is really cool. I mean, the video is really strange, but it's cool. I like the video as well. But no, I like that song a lot. And then you move on to something like Pop Pop Pop, which is a lot more lo-fi. Very much. It's actually a bit harsher than Gift Horse while being gentle at the same time. It's strange. And I love the drums in this particular song as well, Pop Pop Pop, because the hi-hat has a little click to it nearly. It sounds nearly like a drum machine as well. I'm not sure did they actually use a drum machine on this or a real drum, but it's just cool anyways. And when the drums enter the track, it's really cool. The lyricism in this as well is really, really cool. But there's just these harsh spacing synths throughout it. Really vast synths that just sound really, really cool. I like it. And then after you have those three tracks, which would be very well known, you get into something like Roy, which was actually just recently released as a Spotify single where they did, I think, a Spotify session. It's really, really cool. If you have Spotify, definitely check that out as well if you've listened to the album. But Roy is a great track. I really like Roy. It wouldn't be my favourites, but it would be one of my highlights of the album. I've listened to it a lot. And I love the drums and the bass line in this song. And I love the vocals. And there's these guitars in Roy that are amazing, just incredible. I really, really like the guitar during the chorus. It's really, really cool. I like Roy. And it's cool to see it as a Spotify single as well. I haven't listened to it yet, but I would recommend that you guys do. If you're a fan, obviously it would be just cool for you guys to see it live at with Spotify. So I'm excited to check that out as well. But you've got that, and then you've got the closing track for this side, which is very melancholic. You have a gospel, and it's really nice and kind of mellow though, but it echoes to Joe's lyrics throughout this song. And I think that's really cool. The piano. I love that song, A Gospel. It's really, really good. And although it's really sad though, I do like it as a song. So yeah, that's side A, and I mean all 5 of those tracks are incredible. I know Idea 01's just always been kind of one of those songs that I keep coming back to as just an incredible artistic piece of music. I really, really like that particular track. Gift Horse used to be my favourite for a long time. Then I kind of went to Pop 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 as a favourite. Now I'm not so sure what's my favourite on the album. And Roy and A Gospel are just 2 beautiful tracks that I just fantastic. I think they're really, really cool. And then you have Dancer, which is a fantastic track. I love Dancer a lot. Really, really great track. And I believe this was a single. So Dancer, the thing for me is that it's really bassy. It's very much power with a cool lyrics. I really like the lyricism in this. And I love that Joe comes back to the lyric, so to speak, and also the other lyric, and the sweat. It's really weird, because I think it's really cool. And then you've got even things like feathers ache, just different phrases like that are just magnificent, really, really cool. So I like that song for that reason. Just cool drums and guitars as usual. I mean, it's just a great track. And then Grace, this song actually contains the IDLES, it's nearly their motto now, I'm not sure really what to call it, but this is Love is the Thing, which is really cool. Love is the Thing, though, is actually what their tour was called. What they're touring now is called Love is the Thing. And this is on t-shirts everywhere on their website. Obviously, if you want to buy any IDLES merch, or if you want to purchase this album, or if you want to purchase any of their previous albums, any of their live albums, or any of their 7 inches, the website will be down below, and same with their Bandcamp page and all the streaming services. So just make sure to check that out as well, and because they're a great band. And then so Grace is a cool track. I like Grace, and I like the whole Love is the Thing, not motto exactly, but just phrase. I think it's a really nice phrase, and I hope I will wear a Love is the Thing t-shirt someday. That would be pretty cool. But now we're moving on to the second page of notes. I really like this album. I have a lot of notes about it. And then you have Hall and Oates. And this is just cool. I like this song. Really kind of rockish. And this is a fast-paced, quirky song. It's very quirky. That is really cool. I love the lyrics. And the thought behind the song is funny. I hear Hall and Oates playing in my ear. I just think that's cool. And it's definitely nothing like Hall and Oates, which makes it even funnier. Like Joe just nearly shouting during the chorus, which is so funny. But it's really, really cool, and I love that song for that reason. So IDLES, if you watch this, Hall and Oates is one of my favourite tracks on this album. It's fantastic. And then you have Jungle, and you get kind of into the more kind of darker, a bit distant nearly songs towards the end of the album. You have Jungle. This feels kind of like a throwback to some of IDLES' more punk songs, and I love the harsh tones and guitar in this song. It's a cool track, but you do feel you're kind of going darker, especially with Gratitude as well. And I like Joe's vocals on this. I like Joe as a singer. I think Joe's a very, very good singer because he's himself, and I like that especially on Gift Horse. He's a great singer, and as well, Pop Pop Pop. Really good vocals on that. And for someone like Joe, just to sing the way he does is really, really cool. And it's just, I think he's a great singer. So on Gratitude, he's really good on the chorus of this song, and the hats on the drums and the bass on this song are incredible. I have to say, one of the highlight for this album altogether, my favorite instrument in it would definitely be the bass. The bass is incredible. If you were to include vocals as an instrument, I'd say Joe would be the same as the bass. Joe's vocals would definitely be the same as the bass. And I love the drums and guitars a lot. Just that bass and that voice is incredible as well. And then you have Monolith, and I love the swelling kind of synths and rhythmic tops throughout this song. It's kind of the rhythmic taps. There's these little taps throughout it. And as well, again, Joe has some really soft, gentle vocals during this as well. So, final thoughts on this album. I mean, I love the artwork. The artwork's incredible. It's presented beautifully. Ever since I got this, I've said to myself, I would actually buy another IDLES record. I would buy Brutalism. I would buy their live album. I would buy Joy is an Active Renaissance. I'd buy Crawler on Ultra Mono. I have no problem doing that. It's good music and it's very well presented, which is brilliant for me. Bass and synth in this album is just incredible. I forgot to mention the synth. I'm so sorry. The synth is really cool. Really, really, really cool. And it would be definitely one of my favourite instruments. And this is a solid 5-star. And I do say this in a lot of my reviews that I don't rate albums a 5-star because I just rate all of the albums that I do 5-star. I only rate albums that I like. So, IDLES, love this album. One of my favourite albums ever. Of all time. Definitely one of my favourite albums. So, really cool. Really happy to now have this on vinyl. If you want to buy it, again, Bandcamp, website, social media, music links. Don't worry, I have it all down there for you to explore. If you can't find it there, it's always on my website, logansoundsoff.com. Thank you so much for watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify, Apple Music, or Google Podcasts, wherever you get them. It's always appreciated. If you're on YouTube, please make sure to like and share my channel and this episode. If you're on Spotify or any of your streaming services, please rate the podcast and make sure to share this episode with your friends. And if you're on my website, it's always really handy to just show your support as well. Guys, as usual, thank you so much for listening to my review. I love sharing my thoughts with you guys. I hope you guys like this album as well. It got a great reaction from people, and like I was wondering when I hadn't heard it and I was just hearing about the IDLES and I didn't know what they sounded like. Now I totally get it. I really get it. So make sure to check all those links out. Please support me if you can. Follow me on social media. Again, don't worry, all the links are there for you. I have them all set out for you. But thanks so much for listening and have a lovely day. Hope you enjoyed the review and goodbye.